Hello viewers, Super GT here on Gran Turismo Sport. A couple of races for you today. Now the first one of which, Blue Moon Raceway, the infield, the new infield track. Here we go, the Super GT cars. And I'm driving the Nissan, fourth on the grid. I'm still in the process of trying to repair my broken reputation on the game after far too many rage quits. So we need some good results, we need some clean races, and things are going to kick off with two Spaniards immediately ahead of us. Can we help out our Brit in the front by displacing some of the Spaniards? We have done that already, going past the first of two, as he made a mistake for the second corner. So the Blue Moon Raceway, fairly new to the game, but I think most of us are fairly familiar with it now, as the Spaniard comes back for a move, as I was very wide but didn't quite work out for him, through the second of the two chicanes there, or sorry, hairpins in the infield, and onto the oval once again, flying through that corner, smashing the ball on the way out. So that's going to hurt our momentum all the way down this very long straight. So that last corner there, very crucial to the lap, because of course with such a long straight you're going to be losing out quite a long time if you get it wrong. Like the Spaniard's going for a move up the inside into turn one, but the line through that one, you're kind of going really deep. In these cars they've got so much downforce, you can kind of go in really deep and keep the speed through the corner that way instead. The guy behind just poking to the bottom of the screen momentarily, so just dip two wheels onto the grass before the right hander, but we keep it under control. And in fact we've actually gained on the Spaniard ahead, and the leader has a bit of space, although a half lunge from the Spaniard didn't quite come off for him into the second to last corner, and once again going for that very attacking entry. He's going to cost him on the way out, as I am now right on the back of him on the way into the final corner. At least I classified that one there as the final corner. I suppose this is also a corner as well, but it's just flat out, so I don't really think of it as one. So then onto the back of second place. Can we get into that slipstream? There we go. We're in exactly the same car, so that is just purely down to slipstreaming and extra speed from the final corner. Bit of contact through the middle of the corner, not the best corner I've ever taken. We're just going to back off slightly, let him go back ahead, and he's going to go a little bit wide, but you can come back slightly. I mean, the car's performed really well in terms of handling. That's not gone too well for him though. He compromised his entry and it really didn't pay off on the exit. It's not he's up the inside into the hairpin. I'm now up into second, so it's two Brits at the front, followed by two Spaniards, and then another Brit in fifth, another Spaniard in sixth. So it's looking rather Anglo-Spanish. It's like an Anglo-Spanish war at the moment for the front six positions, but now it's going to turn down to a battle between myself and my fellow Brit here in first place as we try to wind down the laps. 18 laps on offer, and of course this is this is race C. Race C is normally lasting around about 20 minutes, almost always with a pit stop to do. So in this one we're just going to keep monitoring our our fuel amount in the bottom right hand side of the screen. So just dipped under 6 laps remaining. So of course in an 18 lap race, 18 divided by 2 is 9. We're looking to do 9 laps at least and then go in. So hopefully, in fact we should just about be okay to do that. So we can still save some fuel if we can to have a shorter pit stop time, as I don't take a very good line through that hairpin. Actually going a little bit too early cost me on the way out. So now the leader, you see, hovering around about 2 seconds the gap. So it's not really getting away a huge amount, and I'm not making a huge attempt to really fuel save at this moment. I think I'm just about going to be okay. So this is the situation at lap 8. At the end of lap 8, you can see the gap's definitely a lot bigger now, as of course the deeper you go into the stint, the tyre wear does increase quite considerably. So then coming back out onto the main straight, and we have a yellow flag situation. The leader has just binned himself into the pit lane wall. We're going to have a look at it here with, sorry about the 2 pixels, But you can just see he just went into the end of the wall and got himself a penalty just to rub it in. So, I mean, if you're watching that, my friends, that was quite embarrassing, but it's going to be helpful for me as I now go up into the lead. So the unfortunate thing for him though is that he kind of just sat on the entry and it didn't really go into the pit lane for him, and he kind of got reset back onto the track. So he lost all the time in the world, and this is how you do it properly, kind of following that line. And there we go, easily done. So one lap later, at the end of lap 9, so we're going to do a one stop, and then we can just simply go to the end of the race. Now just going to put in 100% of fuel because it is quite marginal. I only have 3% left there. A massive kick of oversteer as I rejoin the circuit, but the gap now still about 3 or 4 seconds to second place, which is about what it was before the pit stops. So it hasn't really changed anything there. And I mean, that race was looking like it could have been quite an interesting one, but that mistake by the leader kind of really helped me, and the gap was fairly big at the end. So you can see that there are the results. Finished first, and it's good to get a victory. It's been a fair amount of time since my last one. In fact, it was nearly 10 seconds, the gap at the end. So a victory to kick things off, not bad. It went up 3 positions as well. Always good to gain some positions. We're going to go again, this time from second. Can we have a bit more of an interesting race? My sportsmanship rating, or my driver rating is B at the moment, and sportsmanship is actually going up to S. So BS, when it was actually SS for a while, but S is now A+. I don't know why they changed that, but they have. So immediately up into the lead. The Italian there surrendering first place around the first corner. He went defensive when I don't think he really had to, and it cost him on the way out of the corner. Got a much better line as he goes for a kamikaze dive bomb. Doesn't quite come off for him, and that's only going to give me a further margin to the second place now, which is the German. The Italian, in fact, looking at the position on the left, he's dropped outside of the top 8, so obviously that did not go well for him. I don't know if that was a punt, I don't know if it got punted, but either way it has not ended up good for that Italian. So this is lap number 9 now. So I was lapping okay, keeping the gap around about 3 seconds, but during this lap it went down to about 2.5. Now the tyre wear is very bad on this circuit, especially because there's such a high amount of long left-handers. It's just going to murder your front right tyre. So coming in at the end of lap 9, once again, we can mirror the same strategy that we did in the previous race. The German, quite interestingly, opting to stay out. That could give him fresher tyres towards the end of the race though. The only disadvantage for him though is that I now have completely fresh tyres while he has old tyres, for this lap at least. So I've got to really push here to try and gain. And this is the situation at the end of lap 10 or beginning of 11, so he's now just coming out of the pit lane, and the gap was about 2.5 seconds before I went in, and now it's already just gone up to about 3.5 or nearly 4. So I've gained about 1.5 seconds on that lap just from having fresher tyres. But the only disadvantage now, okay, as I've said, for me now, he's going to have 1 lap fresher tyres for the rest of the race. He can afford to kind of push on his tyres a little bit more than I can. And the gap isn't huge, it's still just over 4 seconds, although I am still gaining on this first lap, this first out lap of his. So he isn't quite getting to grips, excuse the pun, with his tyres. So into the final corner, trying to set that faster lap as well. We do currently have the faster lap, which was our second lap of the race. And this is going to be my second lap on these tyres, or third full lap. So we're going to cross the line here. It was a purple sector, the second to last, and there it is. Going to go again, once again, for another faster lap, just to put off your opponents there a little bit more. And okay, we're going to cross the line, and it's going to be a second victory in a row. I'm not sure how many times I've done that, probably not many. 6.9 seconds ahead, pretty much all Lexus from 2nd to 8th. So that's obviously a popular car, but it's the Nissan in this one which is doing the biz. There we go, another victory. 19 wins we have now. We're going to turn our attention to Group 4. Here is the grid. I've gone for the Hyundai. So that guy from Tokyo Drift is going to let me roll in a Hyundai. Here we go. Starting second on the grid, so fairly good grid slot. Always good to start. You know, you really want to be starting in the top 3 or 4, really, if you want ambitions of winning the race. Of course, you can do it from further back, but it just makes it a lot harder, especially in a race of only 4 laps. So this is the Maggiore circuit, the full version. So I haven't done it in a while. There are many configurations of this circuit existing now, but this is the original. Let's see what we can do. So turn 4 here, plenty of curb on offer on the apex and on the exit. We're up against the Toyota GT86, which, from what I can tell on the leaderboards, is definitely one of the quicker cars in Group 4 at the moment. I'm going to give it a go in the Hyundai though, see what we can do. I seem to recall that one of my very first Gran Turismo Sport videos was in this car around this track, so it looks like we've gone full circle around about 7 or 8 months later. So let's see how this car handles, and if we can start reeling them in on this back straight. Of course, we're always trying to compare how the cars perform on relatively different parts of the circuit. Is my car quicker through the chicanes? Is it faster through the braking? Is it faster through on the top end or the acceleration? And on this evidence, it looks like I'm slightly quicker on this straight, so that's information that's very useful. If I can get out behind him onto that straight once again on one of the next laps, then I should be able to get past him. Sometimes very close. So coming up the hill into the final sector, should be an easily flat out chicane here. No need to lift through that one at all. So definitely he got a poor exit, I think, from that bottom of the hill chicane, or the hairpin, sorry. And it's going to cost him all the way up this hill, as it is flat out. Into the final couple of corners. The car were actually very grippy, no real drama to report. Using 0 TCS, I don't think there's much requirement for TCS in Group 4. I think you can easily, or you can get away with a lot easier than Group 3 at least. So a lot of the cars in Group 3 are fairly leery on the throttle, but I think in Group 4 a lot of the cars are actually very easy to manage, the Hyundai included. So crossing the line, looking for a move up the inside, but we've still got to hit our braking point. He's actually gone a bit deep as a result of trying to outbrake me, I think. To the next corner, I think a bit of a bump. It looks like I've kind of pushed him round there, but I'm not sure I felt any contact. Plus I didn't really get the SR little warning logo, so I don't think there actually was contact. It was just very close looking. Sometimes you can't actually quite tell with the nose actually invisible on my car. I can't actually see exactly where it is. But I'm going to get a really good run out of turn 4 into turn 5. Going to put up the inside, hit our braking point. We've covered the inside line, and we're going to hit the apex nicely. So that's a really clinical, clean move. We can try to get the chicane right, and then hope to pull away down the straight. Third place, as we just briefly look behind, isn't too far behind. So you always got to consider other threats. It might be the obvious one. So the Toyota, who was in the lead, could be the obvious threat, but you never know. If people are going to come through from a bit further back in the pack and really win and overtake you. Only 2 laps remaining after this one though, so it's a fairly short race. Group B, or sorry, the B race or race B, normally around about 4 laps, lasting normally about 8 minutes in total. No fuel stops to worry about, no fuel management. It's just a flat out race from start to finish, so there's no real strategy involved other than go as fast as possible. Faster than all the other cars and don't get killed. I think it's quite a simple equation to work out. Into the last couple of corners. I love this double corner here. Push out of the throttle onto the curb, let the car kind of rotate again mid-turn, come back for that second apex, onto the power early. You can kind of extend that a tiny bit as long as you keep 2 wheels just about within the line, and we just about managed to do that. Into the final corner, tipping 2 wheels onto the curb, give yourself that extra width on the way in, curb on the way through the apex, curb on the way, or extra tarmac on the way out. So really just trying to maximise everything where you can maximise it. Just do it. It gives you time, so it's well worth doing. Into the first corner. So the situation looking fairly good here. Still only less than a second though, between myself in second place. So you can see they're way beyond the line, but the game allows it. And actually look at the fastest lap. It's something to always look at. I always look at that fastest lap. Who has got it? It's the guy in third place who's got it right at the moment. So he might be the person to watch out for. Ideally, I need to kind of have a good lap here and try and shake off the attention of second and then he might start turning his attention to blocking for third, or blocking the guy in third, which will slow them both down. The guy in third obviously will want to get through as quickly as possible if he has ambitions of winning the race. Only a lap and a half to go, and I'll have 3 in a row. I don't think I've done 3 victories in a row on this game, and to be honest, I think I'll be very, very pleased with that. Rolling through the S's onto the back straight. This circuit is it's just a beautifully designed circuit. Really flows very nicely, especially through those S-bends there. And then over the crest. Actually, looking behind, the gap isn't, it's not huge. The Audi pulling out from third place, looking to go up the inside into the hairpin. The beautifully cambered hairpin at the bottom of the hill. They're side by side now. We saw that the Toyota GT86 didn't have the best power coming up this hill in the first lap, so it might be another drag race between him and the Audi. It looks like the Audi now is actually, yes, he is into second place. So I think my main threat has switched from the Toyota to the Audi Titty. I'm going to try to pull away from him best we can. He's only got a lap left to try to reel me in and get past, but you just never know for sure. I might make one mistake. The gap is only a second, or actually less than a second, and it's quite easy to make a mistake which can cost you, I don't know, 3 or 4 attempts. So that'll be half the gap gone. So it's got to keep my cool here, and we have got our 3rd victory in a row. So our lap there a little bit off what we did on the second lap. So we're going to try to just basically keep our cool, just do everything we've done so far in the race. We've not really made many mistakes. Just try to put in a good lap and keep the Audi off our tail. We don't want to give him a chance. I think if anyone's given a chance, into the final sector or something, they're just going to go for it. They think, yeah, if victory is there, they're just going to go for the lunge of the century. Why not? It's only a video game. And my main ambition here really then is just to make sure I can keep that gap. It's over a second at the moment, or near enough exactly a second. If I can just keep it around about that or more, a little bit wide there. If I keep it above a second, then he probably won't be able to go for a lunge of the century, or even lunge of the millennium. You never know. The gap actually decreasing slightly, and of course the smaller it is, the more chance you give them of slipstream. I don't think he's quite close enough. In fact, the Toyota is still right on his tail. So it's quite a clinically driven race here. Not really much in the way of mistakes. A couple of times a wide of the apex will break a little bit too late. But I think overall a good performance. It's not over yet though. I'm still adjusting at the moment to driving without cones, although I think I'm doing a fairly good job of it. The cones do make it very easy to spot your braking points, so you do have to kind of relearn exactly where you brake without those cones. But most of the time it's actually fairly easy. There's lots of marker boards which kind of can guide you. A lot of the time it's just brake at 100 metres and it kind of works. Into the final corner then, the gap has come down just by a couple of attempts though. It's the final corner, a little bit wide, but I know that it doesn't matter too much. I've kind of got enough in hand as we come through the final bend of the race. The Audi hunting me down to the line, but not enough. Too little too late basically for him. Finishing 4 attempts off with the Toyota just 1.1 seconds off. So it's actually a good race. I mean, it's one of those races where it's not full of action, but it is quite a tense one where if one mistake could have changed that. But ultimately, there we go. 3 victories in a row, so good stuff. We're on the road to repairing our broken reputation. I do thank you very much for watching as always, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I shall see you next time. Obviously, smash the like button if you enjoyed, sub for more, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.